we ended up in the same place at the same time. And he said, hey, I heard you have this card game and can you show it to me? So we played it for 10 minutes and we finished the game. And he's like, that was awesome. Let's play again. And so we played again, and 10 minutes turned into an hour, and an hour turned into 4 hours. And before I knew it, like, this is all we were doing for the whole weekend. This is all we did, is played this game over and over and over again. And the more we played, the more we would change it, the better it got. And at the end of this, he looked at me and he said, listen, I have always wanted to make a game. I've never found one that's as fun as this. I would love to be a part of this. And also, you really need to change the name of this game. At the time, I was calling it Bomb Squad. And he said, Bomb Squad is so obvious. Like, of course you're scared of the bomb. Bombs are scary. It's so on the nose that nobody even cares. Instead of being scared of a bomb, what if you were scared of a cute, adorable, fuzzy little kitten, and we call the game Exploding Kittens instead? And I started a card game with a friend of mine. We put it up on Kickstarter, trying to raise $10,000, and raised about $9 million instead.
All right, it's official. I'm coming to Melbourne, Australia. I'll be there for a couple weeks, but as a part of this tour, I will be hosting a fantastic public event, one epic night at Luminaire in South Melbourne with the team from St. Haven Private Club. Whether you're into health, performance, longevity, fitness, or any other element of life optimization, I will teach you how to become boundless. It's going to be an incredible evening. Here's what you need to know. It will be June 26th, 6:30 to 8:30 p.m., and there will be an option for a VIP experience with me that includes a meet and greet and the book signing. You can get all the details and get your limited seat now at bengreenfieldlife.com/Australia 2025. That's bengreenfieldlife.com/Australia 2025. Well, folks, my guest today is Elan Lee. He is the co-creator of Exploding Kittens. Probably one of the first times I ever branched out from Monopoly, Sorry, and card games like Canasta and Hearts was when I found this game. I have no clue where I got it, but ever since then, I have been a fan and customer of Exploding Kittens. And Elon actually has a really great story, not only about how he went from quitting, or at least backing out of Microsoft, to launching one of the world's most successful Kickstarter campaigns, to now bringing delight, I guess sometimes disgust, and all sorts of dining room table and party battles to people worldwide, like Exploding Kittens and Throw Burrito and Poetry for Neanderthals. So you've heard me talk about it before. We play games almost every night together as a family. There's a lot more to games than just that, though. And Elon and I are going to fill you in on how you can hopefully make your life a lot more fun. All the show notes are going to be at bengreenfieldlife.com/Elon Lee, by the way. That's ELANLEE. Elon, welcome, man.
Thanks so much for having me. I'm really excited.
Yeah. Before we start recording, I was telling you, like, my kids are super into games. They literally spend half their day just messing around with games and game design and
so good.
Throwing cards around. What about you? When you were a kid, was this something you thought you'd be doing?
Oh, yeah. I mean, this was my whole childhood, right? Like, so I'm the oldest of 4 kids, and we didn't have that much growing up. And so my parents, the typical thing was, get us all outside into the backyard. And then it was my job to figure out some way to entertain my siblings. And games just became the thing, like we would build games out of anything, sticks and rocks and discarded toys and just literally anything we could find lying around. And so game design just fell naturally right into my lap. It was always just a super fun thing to do.
Did you find yourself like modifying traditional games? It's something we've done as a family, like use Sharpie markers to mess up Quiddler and add little Scrabble variations and stuff.
We have our collection of game modifications for sure, but I'll do you one better than that. What we used to do more often than anything else was not me nor any of my siblings had the patience to read the instructions for games. So most of the time we would just open up boxes and play to the best of our ability without having any idea how the game actually works. And we would just sort of invent it as we go. And we had the absolute best time that way.
Find out later from a responsible adult you were incorrect. I'm assuming prior to the advent of the life-saving 2.5-minute YouTube video versus the 15-minute paper.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. My favorite one, I actually just learned as an adult that my whole life I've been playing Monopoly incorrectly. And we're going to do a test. Okay, so you know Monopoly, right? All right.
A little bit.
Here's the test. You land on a property. You decide not to buy it. What happens?
You continue with your
turn.
You're
right.
Unless you roll doubles, you just continue with your and goes on to the next person.
Yeah, right. That's how I played it my whole life. You know what? That's the wrong answer. The way that the rules are written, which nobody ever reads, is it goes to auction. Highest bidder gets that property if you decide not to buy it.
A property nobody owns, no houses, no hotels. You land on it, even like first turn of the game.
For some reason, you decide not to buy it. It goes up for auction to all the other players, including you. You can now jump into the auction. You might end up paying more than you would have otherwise, but like fundamentally changes how that game is played from the very beginning.
Yeah, cash flush towards the beginning of the game. I could see that dramatically changing.
Yeah. This was brand new information to me, and I couldn't believe it. Literally, I've been playing this game for 40 years, and I've been playing it wrong.
Wow, amazing. That reminds me of how our family just discovered last week in Scrabble that the letters that the other people hold at the end of the game not only count against them, but go towards your point total.
Yeah.
Never, little asterisk at the bottom of the scorecard says it, but none of us realize it. So,
yeah, I love it.
yeah. So in terms of how you actually went from playing games as a kid to designing games as an adult, I've heard you on a couple of podcasts. I know you have a great story. My audience might not be that familiar with it, though. So walk me through this, how you went from computers, I believe, into gaming.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. So let's see. Early on, I've always been fascinated by computers. I honestly, my first job out of college was I did an internship at Industrial Light and Magic doing special effects for movies. And it was like this perfect mix of storytelling and technology. And I was completely enamored. And I thought, I'm going to do this for the rest of my life. And I remember one day I sat down and was talking to my manager, and she's like, yeah, you're really good at this. You've got a long career ahead of you. If you really buckle down and do a lot of work, you can make up to $65,000 a year. And I remember looking at her thinking, holy crap, I got to get the hell out of here.
Well, I mean, to her credit, that's just $5,000 short of what they say buys happiness. So.
Yeah. Hey, all right. Well, maybe she knew something. I really thought that kind of creativity was beautiful and amazing, but it clearly wasn't a long-term career for me. And so I started looking around. Luckily, that internship got me a bunch of other jobs. And one of them was working for Microsoft. And at the time, Microsoft had this secret project. It was called the Direct Xbox. And DirectX was this platform they had. It was like this hardware software interface, and they wanted to make a game console around it. And of course, as we all know, it eventually they dropped the Direct and just launched it as the Xbox. But they hired me out of college and said, hey, we read about you. You've done all this neat work on movies and Star Wars. I got my name in the credits of Star Wars, which is the coolest thing for a 19-year-old in the world. And they called me up and they're like, come over. We just need creative people. We want to all sit around. We want to talk about games. We want to figure out how to build the world's best game console. So come on over. And they made me lead designer. That was my title, literally having no idea what the hell I was doing. And they put me on a team with 5 other people. So there were 6 of us. They said, here's $200 million. Don't screw it up. And that was it. It was insanity.
Especially relative to 65K.
Yeah. Yeah. There you go. I worked for this guy named Jordan Weissman, who to this day is the smartest man I know. And he just mentored me. And he started, instead of me just, randomly saying, I think this is fun. I don't know why. Here we go. Let's develop this. He was really disciplined, and he really forced me to think hard about what's fun and why it's fun and what kind of things we enjoy and why we enjoy them. And that launched my career. I was the lead designer on the first 6 games for the Xbox, so the launch portfolio. And then I thought I was going to be doing that forever because I was having a blast and the team kept growing, and it was just so much fun.
Yeah. Wait, I'm going to stop you right there. Random question. What was the first game on the Xbox?
Halo.
Okay.
Yeah. Um, yeah, that was a nice game to have my name on the credits, because you can basically pick your job after that. So that was a fun one. And I remember the day all of that changed. It was I went over to my brother's house, and he had two young kids at the time. They're much older now, and he had this Xbox. Right, he had an Xbox. He had it set up for them. I walked in the door. I was so excited to see my niece and nephew. And I walk in and I'm like, hey, how's everyone doing? And they are staring at the screen, controllers in hand, and they don't even look up to say hello. And I remember thinking, like, something's broken here. Like something very fundamental has gone wrong. And to add sort of insult to injury, I look at the game they're playing, and it's one of the ones I designed. And I thought, like, there's no way to avoid the statement, I am part of the problem. Like I built this, I made this happen. And so within about 2 weeks of that experience, I resigned and really started, like, I wanted to just focus on, like, these entertainment products, be them digital, physical, whatever they are, they should be bringing us together instead of building barriers between us. And that was really my mantra. And I started a series of companies. I actually started 5 different startups, one after the other. I would build them up to about, 10 to 15 people and then sell them off, because that was about the point where I started forgetting people's names and thought, okay, let's move on to the next thing. I then went back to Microsoft for a minute to help them launch the Xbox One. And then right after that, I said, all right, enough. No more digital, nothing. And I started a card game with a friend of mine. We put it up on Kickstarter, trying to raise $10,000, and raised about $9 million instead.
Incredible. And of course, I want to get into that story. I'm curious with the digital part of things, when you started this analog card game, were you one of those early adopters of, like, a stupid phone, or were you beginning to back out of your social media profile? Or for you, was it largely just not wanting to create a digital environment for kids or adults anymore?
Yeah. I am completely addicted to technology. I try to apply a lot of discipline to it. Like, I'm not allowed to touch my phone 2 hours between when I wake up. Like, for the first 2 hours of my day, I don't touch anything. I try very hard to turn it off at night. I try to spend as much face-to-face time with my kids as possible. Like, I really try, but also I know I'm addicted to this screen right now in front of me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I've got 6 screens in this room staring at me. Like, and I need them, and I wouldn't want to lose any of them. And I get that. But I try very hard to say there's a time and a place for all of this stuff. And it's getting easier and easier to walk away from it when I'm in that, like, time compartment of, okay, enough, let me go do something else.
Yeah. You're kind of a shitty Luddite who would maybe walk out at Amish, but you at least understand where the boundaries are.
Yeah, that's right. Or at least I try to convince myself that I do. But I'm always also the guy with the newest tech, just because I love it.
Right. So this guy that you met and the card game that developed from that, tell me about that.
So that's Matthew Inman, and he is the creator and artist behind the Oatmeal, the online comics. It's one of the most popular online comics in the world. He's been doing it for 15 years now, I think.
By the way, remotely familiar, because I live now in Moscow, Idaho, lived in Spokane, Washington before this. And I believe, if memory serves, he is from Hayden, Idaho.
Yeah. And then lived in Seattle. So, like, you kind of moved around with him. But he's basically the funniest person I know. He is essentially an audience whisperer. Like, he knows how to deliver messages to audience with better effect than I think anyone on the planet. Like, he's so good at it. And I've always been a huge fan of his. And I met him through a friend of a friend. And I sat down with him and I was like, I had just resigned from Microsoft. I was basically planning on, like, just doing nothing for a year, just trying to find myself. I was really unfocused and lost, and just thought, I've been doing the wrong thing for too long, and I got to figure out how to do the right thing and what the right thing is. And I had this little game design. I literally took a deck of cards, poker cards, and took a Sharpie and just started scribbling on them. I'm like, well, this card is called Diffuse, and I would write Diffuse on it. And this card is called Bomb, and I'd write Bomb on it.
You hadn't yet discovered the blank cards you can order on Amazon.
Yeah, no, I hadn't discovered any of that. I had a deck of poker cards and a Sharpie, and that was my arsenal. And we ended up in the same place at the same time. And he said, "Hey, I heard you have this card game, and can you show it to me?" And I was like, "Yeah, but." We were actually in Hawaii at the time. We were on this little group vacation, a bunch of like four different families all convened at Hawaii. And we're like, we're just going to get away for a while. And I was like, look, man, I would love to show you this game. I'm so excited about this game, but we are in Hawaii and we should be surfing and we should be playing in the water and we should be playing volleyball and we should be doing all this stuff that is not sitting inside playing a card game. And he said, okay, why don't we just play it for 10 minutes? And then after that, we'll go outside. I was like, cool. Deal. So we played it for 10 minutes and we finished the game and he's like, that was awesome. Let's play again. And so we played again and 10 minutes turned into an hour and an hour turned into 4 hours. And before I knew it, like this is all we were doing for the whole weekend. This is all we did is played this game over and over and over again. And the more we played, the more we would change it, the better it got. And at the end of this, he looked at me and he said, listen, I have always wanted to make a game. I've never found one that's as fun as this. I would love to be a part of this if you'll have me as a partner. And also, you really need to change the name of this game. At the time, I was calling it Bomb Squad, right? Because I thought it's Russian roulette with a deck of cards. There's a deck of cards and there's a few bad ones. Those are the bombs. Avoid the bombs. Don't explode. That was my idea. And he said, Bomb Squad is so obvious. Like, of course you're scared of the bomb. Bombs are scary. It's so on the nose that nobody even cares. Instead of being scared of a bomb, what if you were scared of a cute, adorable, fuzzy little kitten and we call the game Exploding Kittens instead?
By the way, for anybody who actually has seen his work, the oatmeal.com, I believe, you get it, the idea of an exploding kitten.
Yeah, it's right up his alley. It's exactly the way he speaks to his audience is, kind of like gross and cute mixed into one. And so we immediately hit it off. We changed the name of the game. Within 2 weeks, we put the thing up on Kickstarter, and that's literally how the company was born.
Wow. So the Kickstarter thing, was that new territory to you, the idea of crowdfunding a game?
It was brand new for me. Matt had done 2 previous crowdfunding campaigns, much, much smaller, like in the tens of thousands range. And so he at least knew how to pull an audience in the door. But I was just looking at it as game design. I was like, look, we're going to put up a page and we're going to ask people to come and back this project. But what if there was stuff for them to do? What if there was an experience built into the page? And ultimately, that's how we built our page. And I think, arguably, I don't know, I don't have an A/B test here, but I think that's a lot of why it had such staying power and why everyone told their friends about the page.
Yeah. What's that look like when you say an experience built into the page?
So a typical Kickstarter campaign is, you're trying to raise $10,000, right? There's your goal. If you hit it, great. Off you go. You collect your money. You build your product. If you don't, the campaign is canceled. Along the way, what you do is there's basically one tool you've got. They're called stretch goals. And they basically say, okay, we're trying to raise $10,000. If we can somehow raise $20,000 instead, we are going to add 10 extra cards to the game. The game just got better because we made more money. And if we raise $50,000, we're going to put it in a fancy carrying case or whatever it is. They're stretch goals, right? Like help us earn more money and we'll make the game better for free. And that's the one tool you have as a Kickstarter creator to entice audience members to tell their friends about your campaign. Matt got us so much money on day one. Like we tried to raise $10,000. We got that in 7 minutes. By the end of the first 24 hours, we had $1 million. By the end of the second day, we had 2 million. By the end of the third day, we had 3 million. It was out of control. And the tricky part is that on day 4, it started to fall off a cliff because all of Matt's fans, anyone who was going to back the game, had backed the game. He pulled everyone he possibly could in the door. It was one of the biggest successes of all time. And then crickets. So we sat down. I had this conversation with him. I was like, look, we got 2 choices here. We can either sort of ride off into the sunset and say, we raised $3 million. That's incredible. Let's go build our game. Or we can try something that no one's ever done before. And Matt, of course, said, what's something no one's ever done before? And then I explained to him this idea of stretch goals and that we could do them differently. Because when people think of crowdfunding, they keep focusing on that funding part. Like everyone, you want more cards in the game? Great. Let's get 20,000 instead of 10,000. Funding focused. I hate that. I think it's the wrong approach. And I said, what if instead we were crowd focused? It's not crowdfunding. It's just crowd, blah, 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 right? Like, let's focus on the crowd. That's the most important bit. And he agreed. And what we did instead was we said, okay, stretch goals. We're going to add 10 cards to the game. We're going to give you a fancy carrying case. We're going to do all the fun stretch goal stuff, but each one is no longer tied to a dollar amount because we do not care about money. We've already made more money than we could possibly spend, than we need to make the game. We're fine. Instead, all we're going to do is throw the world's largest party and everyone's invited for free. Here's how this works. If you want 10 more cards in the game, show us a picture of 10 Batmans in a hot tub. Whatever the hell that means to you. We want to see a picture of 10 Batmans in a hot tub. And within like 10 minutes, we had that. It was incredible. Everyone wants to participate. That's funny. What the hell does that mean? I can do that. And they would send us their pictures. And so finally, like somebody sent us a picture of 10 fully dressed cosplay characters in a hot tub, smiling and, giving us a thumbs up. So we're like, cool. 10 more cards, done. All right, now for that carrying case, we want to see one of the characters in the game is called Taco Cat. And Taco Cat is amazing. Taco Cat is a palindrome, right? Taco Cat spelled backwards, still Taco Cat. Incredible. My favorite character. We said, okay, show us 10 pictures of real Taco Cats. And the fans went nuts. They started putting their cats in burrito shells. They started sprinkling lettuce on top of their cats. Back then, before AI, it was incredible because you actually had to take the photos. One person, this woman worked in an animal shelter, and she showed us a picture of her holding a cat and the adoption papers for that cat. She had legally renamed that cat Taco Cat. So she's like, this is clearly a real Taco Cat because it's literally its name. And so we started just playing. We ended up writing, I think, 20 or 30 different challenges like that. And they were incredible. And everyone really loved them. And eventually, we went from that like $3 million mark to 4 million, to 5 million, to 6 million. And eventually, to this day, we actually hold the record for the highest number of backers of any campaign in history. We had 219,000 backers for that project. And it's all because we stopped focusing on funding and we only focused on crowd.
So, I've heard you say, because believe it or not, I stalk people a little bit before I get them on the podcast, that something like games, not that games should be entertaining, but games should make the people you're playing with more entertaining or something to that effect.
That's right. Yeah, that's my favorite quote. Like we had to write a mission statement for the company. Like once we started like forming a real company and once we had to actually like get investors, they all said like, what's the mission statement? Like, what is your company here to do? And the one that Matt and I wrote is, we do not make entertaining games. We make games that make the players entertaining. And that has been fundamental. Like that has changed everything about the way we work.
Making the players more entertaining. What's an example of that?
So we get pitched games all the time. Like, okay. I won't go into the specifics because I don't want to embarrass anybody. But a typical pitch for us looks like, here's a game. There's a whole bunch of cards on the table. Everyone's trying to achieve this goal, and you're trying to do it before the other players. If you look at that game, and I'm sure you've played a game like this, every single player at the table is actually playing solitaire. They happen to be playing solitaire simultaneously. They happen to be trying to race to the finish, but they're trying to race to the finish of a game of solitaire. They're trying to finish their game of solitaire before anybody else finishes their own game of solitaire. I hate those games.
Example comes to mind, a Ticket to Ride, right? You're trying to punch your ticket, build your tracks, and there's a little bit of a defense component against the tracks other people are building, but for the most part, you're in your own head along with 3 other players at the table.
I think that's true, but in Ticket to Ride's defense, because I can think of way more guilty examples than Ticket to Ride, because everyone is competing for the same resources, those tracks, and because you are screwing other people over inadvertently every move you make, I would argue that it is less guilty than many other games of this particular problem. So I what I realize is the games that I remember most from my childhood, the games that I love playing the most just in life in general, are the ones where like I don't even remember the games. I remember the interactions. I remember, hey, we're going to form an alliance. Or like growing up, I remember my sister kicking me under the table to try to communicate stuff to me. I remember throwing food and cheating. I remember the interactive nature of the game because it was my siblings and my friends that were actually entertaining. And those are my absolute favorite memories. And so I thought, if we're going to make games, let's make sure that every game is a tool set to make the players the entertainment value. If you look at Exploding Kittens, right, our first game ever, every single card, when you play it, every single card is designed to create an interaction between you and another player. There are no solo cards in that game. There is no solitaire in that game. Every action you take is an invitation for another player to have an interaction with you. And I think that's why that game has lasted and been the top-selling game for so long now.
I love it. I've made a half-assed attempt on my show before to try to describe to people, especially parents, the value of gaming as a way to bring families together, or even learn, whether it be conflict resolution or argumentation or logic sequences, etc. Have you ever found yourself making a case for I don't think health aspects of gaming is necessarily the word I'm looking for, but the ability of gaming to kind of solve, in a way, this loneliness epidemic that we seem to be venturing farther and farther into?
I think it is one of the most effective tools. Because, well, first of all, like when we play games, the first rule is you got to put your phone away. Like no screens allowed.
Unless it's the Scrabble word checker app.
Yeah. And you know what? I'm even guilty of this. I just actually released a game that uses your phone as a timer. So sorry. Yes, there are exceptions to the rule, but you're not flipping through social media. You're not like the idea is let's play a game that requires us to make eye contact. Let's play a game that requires us to form a relationship, a temporary alliance. And let's play a game that a betrayal is even encouraged. And now we're going to deal with that betrayal. And we're going to do it face to face. And it's going to happen right now. And the next 45 minutes are going to be us dealing with each other in order for one of us to cross the finish line before the other one. And I think that is the antidote to loneliness. I think that is the requirement of those interactions is other people. That is the one and only ingredient to those nights being successful. And so my family, we, again, like yours, we play games every single night because that's the time when we're talking. That's the time when we're interacting. That's the time when we're making eye contact and smiling. And you walk away from those nights just thinking like, oh, we love each other. Like we're part of this thing where we fight and complain and cheat and do all that stuff. But ultimately, we're going to look forward to it the next night where somebody else is going to win and it's going to be glorious.
Yeah. Are you a games during dinner, before dinner, or after dinner family? The reason I ask is you can eat off of most of our game pieces and cards.
That's so good. We play word games at dinner. My kids are very young. My kids are 7 and 3. So if I were to give them game pieces during dinner, they would eat those game pieces. So that wouldn't work. But yeah, we play a lot of word games, a lot of question and answer games, a lot of storytelling games at dinner. And then after dinner, when we sit around and play real games, we actually, this is funny, I hate kids games. Hate them. I think they're the worst. Like if I have to play Candyland again, I am going to kill someone. Like it's just, they're mindless and you might as well not even be in the room, right? Like a computer can play that game the same way you can, right? It's like the equivalent of roll a die, move a piece, roll a die, move a piece. It's not interactive. It's not interesting. You're not making decisions. You're not deploying strategy. You're not watching your kids get smarter. Like none of that is happening. And when my daughter, she's now 7, when she turned 4, she was finally old enough where I could like play real games with her. And I was so excited. We went out to the store and we bought all the games, like all of them. And we sat down and one by one, we would play through these games because I was so excited to finally play games with her. And they sucked. Like just every single one of them was such a disappointing experience. And she looked at me and she could see like how crestfallen I was. And she's like,
this game does not make you entertaining.
Yeah, that's right. It was the opposite. It was just draining. It was so Oh, it was so bad. And she looked at me and she's like, why are you sad? Like, I want to play again. Why don't you want to play again? And I was like, this is just broken. Like, it's just not, this isn't fun. And she looked at me and she said, let's fix it. And like, it was this, like, the clouds parted and the sunbeam came right down. And I just thought, like, this is it. Let's fix it. You and me, let's fix it. And so for the next year, I sat down with my daughter and we got out the markers and the stickers and we got out the little cards and scissors. And when we cut up little pieces and we built, it's got to be like 12 different games. And most of them were garbage, but 4 of them were really good. And we eventually actually published all 4 of those. And one of them is currently the best-selling game in the world.
No kidding. What is it?
It's called Hurry Up Chicken Butt. And it's a game designed by a 4-year-old. But here's the thing. Here's why I love it. You will play this game against your 4-year-olds, and you will not let them win, and they will beat you anyway.
You have solved the problem that I often hear from adults who I recommend play games with their children.
It's a real problem.
Okay, but it's kind of like reading the same story time book over and over again.
That's right. No, the reason that 8 of the games never got published is because they didn't meet the criteria of, I want to play again. I want to get better at this. My 4-year-old just beat me at this thing. And if I play again, I'm pretty sure I can beat her, but I'm not positive. I want that experience. And that's what we built. And, it's amazing. It's amazing. And now we walk through, Target and Walmart, and my daughter gets to see her name on the box of a game, designed by Avalon. It's the best thing in the world.
Incredible. I maybe you've given me a good segue into you and your own personal wellness or fitness routine with the moniker "Hurry Up Chicken Butt." You're obviously somewhat aware of health and its role, and when I get a successful entrepreneur like you on the show, I always like to kind of see a little bit inside what goes on with your own routine, like how you take care of yourself. So do you have a wellness routine or a daily routine that you rely on?
Yeah, very much. I do a lot of the normal expected stuff. So after I drop my kids off at school, I go to the gym. I'll do that for an hour. Then I'll usually go for, like a 4 to 5 mile walk. As I do phone calls, I like to stay active during that. But unlike the next expected line I know is, and I meditate for, an hour a day or whatever. But I found a better alternative. I have become addicted to eFoiling. Do you know what eFoiling is?
I have nearly killed myself on an eFoil in the Bahamas last month.
Excellent. I love to hear this. I'm going to go through the 20-second version for those who don't know what eFoiling is. Imagine a surfboard, and there's a mast, but instead of the mast going up, the mast goes down like 3 feet into the water. And at the bottom of the mast is a giant set of wings, like airplane wings, like wings in the water. And you're holding in your hand a controller that controls a very small motor on those wings. And when it gets to a certain speed, not very fast at all, it lifts up into the air. Here's why I love this. It is essentially like doing, first of all, the workout part is, it's like doing a sit-up for 2 hours straight. Like if you stop working your core at all, you will fall in the water. So it has gotten me in some of the best shape in my life just doing this literally every day at this point. And it's silent. Because you're above the water, there's no water noise, there's no wake. The motor is tiny, so it makes almost no noise at all. And all you can hear is the wind, the birds, anything, other people in the water. It feels like flight. It feels like you are floating above the water. The board is so small that even if you look straight down, you can almost not see it. You can just see the water swishing by. And it is peaceful and meditative. And what I love about it is it's really hard, like truly, truly hard, as you know, from almost killing yourself. And what that does for me is it makes it so that if I am stressed, if I think about work, if I think about family stress, if I think about any of that stuff for even a moment, I'm in the water immediately. All I can do is focus on, I'm flying. I need to keep flying. I'm going to focus on that for the next 2 hours.
It's like lifting heavy weights at the gym. That's an activity during which you are not thinking about your tweet. Um, Obviously, levels of competence and body awareness differ by user, but how long did it take you to get to the point where you could just cruise on that thing?
It took me about 8 hours of falling. So like I don't have a teacher. So for me, this was just watching YouTube videos, trying again, failing miserably, watching another one, failing miserably. I actually watched this one YouTube video that changed everything for me. Anyone who's ever tried eFoiling, the one thing you need to know, this one guy changed my life. He said, I've been teaching this thing for 5 years. I don't know why I'm a teacher. I've only ever said two things to every student, so I don't know why people pay me. The only two things I've ever said is, you're not far forward enough and you're not going fast enough. That's it. I just repeat those two lines over and over and over and over again. And for some reason, people pay me. And so next time I got out on the board and I was like, okay, I'm going way too fast. But the guy said I'm not going fast enough. Okay, I'm way too far forward. But the guy said I'm not far forward enough. So okay. So I changed those two things and suddenly I popped right out of the water and floated there for 2 hours.
I am mentally noting this for the next time I make it to a tropical locale.
There you go.
My wife has probably already increased the value of my life insurance policy. She witnessed it. She saw it. Wow, that's incredible. What a routine.
It's so fun. It's the best thing ever. Anyone who's never tried this, like, go rent an eFoil for 2 hours. The first hour is going to suck, but if you have a good teacher, the second hour will be absolutely magical.
As somebody who has come up with titles like Taco Cat and Throw Burrito, that I don't know if your diet is purely Mexican, but I'm curious if you follow a specific nutrition routine.
Yeah. So for nutrition, I have high blood pressure and I have high cholesterol. So I'm trying very hard to keep the medications to a minimum, which means I have to focus a lot on diet. So carbs, sugars, almost non-existent in my world. I try to I try to fast for 18 hours a day also. So I'll stop eating somewhere at around 6 p.m. and I won't pick it up again until noon the next day. This is very tricky with a workout routine because like I need protein so badly after working out, but I try to time my workout so that I can end somewhere within an hour of 12, so that I can start to eat when I need to and when I need it most desperately.
That's actually a pretty compressed feeding window. I mean, 18 hours is a chunk. Have you been doing that a while?
I've been doing it for about 3 years now, and it has 100% fixed my cholesterol problem. That with the diet, being very careful of what I'm eating in that small eating window, and eliminating sugar has completely changed my life. Like, I have energy, I am awake, I am alert. I know I don't get sluggish anymore. I don't understand how I spent so many years putting that poison into my body. It's insane.
Yeah, obviously you've heard the idea that it's not necessarily fat that would make cholesterol atherosclerotic or appreciably increase it. It's more the sugar or oxidation inflammation from, I don't know, something like seed oils that renders the cholesterol atherosclerotic and makes it an issue. So cutting sugar and carbs is one of the better things to do versus, say, cutting out extra virgin olive oil and avocados.
Yeah, totally agree. I've been I have a really supportive doctor who essentially walks me through new ideas, like constantly. He's the one who introduced a pseudo keto diet, intermittent fasting, being very careful about what goes into my diet, building plans for me. It's incredible. It has been so life-changing. I was really, really struggling. Like I was right at this point where like my stress level was through the roof, and he was like, "Look, you have two choices. I'm going to either have to write you like 6 prescriptions and you are going to take these pills for the rest of your life, or you're going to pay attention to me and we're going to change how you sleep, how you work, how you exercise, and how you eat." And I was like, yeah, option B, let's do that one. And it's been amazing.
What'd you change for sleep?
I am not great about this, but I'll tell you the goal at least, which has been very effective. No screens in bed. If I can get... I'm pretty good about getting to bed at a decent hour. And if I can just read or have a conversation with my wife and resist the urge to pick up that screen, I will have such a good night's sleep. The other thing is I bought an 8 sleep mattress. So my side of the bed stays freezing cold. I've like got it maxed out to the coldest temperature it possibly gets, and that has been incredible.
Yeah, that is a game changer. Like the no hard exercise, no heavy spicy meal, and some type of cooling mechanism in the bedroom. I laughed when I installed this mattress because it said it was made of virgin sheep's wool. I thought it was a sheep. Had never had sex. Turns out it's the first year of the sheep. And it's like this natural cooling system. And since getting this bed, I haven't yet put a cooling topper on it, but I also have not owned the bed in the summer. So it's June 2nd when we're recording this. We'll or a little past that. We'll see.
You'll have a report soon. Yeah.
Yeah. And then of course with the phone, sometimes funny YouTube videos or something like that, it helps to turn off my brain. But I am the, if you Google red phone or iPhone red light trick, you can program your phone with a triple click to suck a lot of the blue light and the dopamine out of the phone by just shifting it to a night mode that you can't get in the native OS.
Yeah. You know what I did for a while? Speaking of that, I don't do it anymore because I don't think I need it. But when I was really having trouble falling asleep, I bought construction glasses, which are just orange tinted glasses. And I would wear those for about an hour before I went to sleep every night. It does this exact same thing, right? It's cutting out all the blue, but not just from my screen, but from everything. It would knock me right out. Like it was a very effective trick.
Am I call them birth control for your head?
Yeah.
Yeah. You guys are obviously constantly iterating at Exploding Kittens. What's coming down the pipeline right now?
There's 2 games. There's 3 games. All right. There's 3 games. God, there's like so many games, but there's 3 that I'm really excited about. One is I have been the biggest Survivor fan forever. The TV show Survivor. They're currently filming their 50th season. I've had the incredible privilege to write for that show for the last 10 years and help them out with a bunch of themes, specifically the host, Jeff Probst. He and I have become really good friends. And so this year we released a Survivor game, and this has been years in the making. It is so hard to write a Survivor game because I've got like 20 minutes to simulate low blood sugar, insect bites, being cranky with your fellow tribesmates, like all of that stuff that happens over 30 days, I got to do in 10 minutes. And that has been the toughest design challenge of my career. And we finally did it. And the reviews are through the roof. Everyone seems to love this game. It's regularly the top seller on Amazon in the games category. And so I'm so proud of that game. It's really beautiful. If you've watched Survivor, or even if you've never even heard of Survivor and you want to just prove to your friends that you can do things that they cannot do, try this game. The next one is we did a partnership with Tim Ferriss. So we launched this game called Poetry for Neanderthals. We launched it about 6 or 7 years ago. It is, number 6 game in the world. It's great. It's great. Everyone loves it. It's been an evergreen title for us. It's so good. The game is you have to get your friends to say a word on a card, but you can only speak using single syllable words. So Tim fell in love with that game. He played it all the time with his friends, and he called me up and he said, I love this game. I've always wanted to make a game. Can you help me make a game as good as this one? And I said, I don't know, but let's try. So we spent a year working on game design and finally released a game just a few months ago. It's called Coyote, and it is rock, paper, scissors on steroids. Like it is the most insane little hand gesture physical activity game. You play it around the table. It makes everybody's brain melt because it's so hard. But I shouldn't say it's hard like in a you can't play way. It's so hard in that the game escalates sporadically throughout the course of 20 minutes. And it starts out easy and then it gets a little challenging and everyone thinks they've got it. And then suddenly the game twists itself in this knot and you have to pay such close attention to survive this incredible challenge game. And then finally, unreleased, but coming out in just a few weeks, to celebrate the 10th anniversary, holy crap, 10 years of Exploding Kittens, we wanted to release a new Exploding Kittens game. And I didn't want to do just another card game because we've done 60 of those now. And I thought, what if we did an Exploding Kittens board game? And if we're going to do an Exploding Kittens board game, it's got to be the best damn board game that's ever been created. And so we have built what I think is the best damn board game that's ever been created. It's not released yet, but the engineering that went into the construction of this game is staggering. Like, I have never worked so closely with papercraft artists, with digital artists, with mechanical engineers. With we had to invent a new way of folding paper in order for this board to be constructed. Like, everything that has gone into this is magic, and the end effect is this board game does something that you have never seen before. And I don't want to ruin the surprise. I will just say, it is a magical board that when it does its magic trick, your jaw will fall open and you will think, holy crap, how the hell could this have been built?
Oh my goodness. Have you seen the, I think they're called magic puzzles, I believe. They're puzzles that you put together that kind of have an Easter egg.
Oh, the Magic Puzzle Company.
Yeah, Magic Puzzle Company.
Yes, I love it. Right, and you can and when you're done, you move them, and then extra pieces. Yeah. Love it. I actually know the founders of that company. I think I've done like 6 of theirs, and I've got the next 3 sitting on my shelf. So I got to get around to those.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So we got Coyote, Survivor, Exploding Kittens, and then I suppose like eFoil magnetic chess might.
Yeah. Yeah. We need an eFoil game. Yeah, that's what the world's missing right now. Yeah.
Yeah, well, Elon, you are an inspiration. Not only your backstory, the fun that you brought to many families, including ours, around the dinner table. I think some of your games have been an inspiration to my sons. They were homeschooled, taking them through the book, The Art of War, 2.5 years ago. They came up with their own idea for a game called The Fart of War.
I love your sons. That's so good.
In between farm chores and work, they're dabbling away on their computers on their schemes for Fart of War.
Oh, they are destined for greatness.
Yes, I know. It's coming down the pipeline, and I'm sure they'll regret the title when they're 20 and they're out on a date and tell their future to be that they're a Fart of War game inventor. But anyways, I really appreciate you doing this. For everybody listening in, I will link to Elon's games, the oatmeal.com, maybe even eFoiling videos with 2 pieces of instruction. If you go to the show notes at bengreenfieldlife.com/Elon Lee, ELANLEE.
Yeah.
Elon, thank you so much for doing this, man.
It's my pleasure. And as one quick side note, I was recently invited to do a masterclass on how to build games. And I thought, I can think of no good reason for that content to be behind a paywall. So I'm doing a masterclass, and it's totally free I've just started publishing it on YouTube. So if you've ever wanted to learn how to build a game, what goes into design, find me on YouTube, and you can watch all the content for free. And if there's other things you have questions about and want to know what's going on behind the scenes, I'm happy to share those as well.
All you need to do is send him a photo of you and 11 friends dressed up like Mexican food in a cold therapy tub. And you're in.
That's definitely a win.
All right, Elon, thank you so much, folks. I'll get that link from Elon and put that in the show notes as well. And thank you so much for listening. Until next time, I'm Ben Greenfield, along with Exploding Kittens, Elon Lee, signing out from bengreenfieldlife.com. Have an incredible week. All right, it's official. I'm coming to Melbourne, Australia. I'll be there for a couple of weeks, but as a part of this tour, I will be hosting a fantastic public event, one epic night at Luminaire in South Melbourne with the team from St. Haven Private Club. Whether you're into health, performance, longevity, fitness, or any other element of life optimization, I will teach you how to become boundless. It's going to be an incredible evening. Here's what you need to know. It will be June 26th, 6:30 to 8:30 p.m., and there will be an option for a VIP experience with me that includes a meet and greet and the book signing. You can get all the details and get your limited seat now at bengreenfieldlife.com/Australia 2025. That's bengreenfieldlife.com/Australia 2025. Do you want
free access to comprehensive show notes, my weekly roundup newsletter, cutting edge research and articles, top recommendations from me for everything that you need to hack your life, and a whole lot more. Check out bengreenfieldlife.com. It's all there. bengreenfieldlife.com. See you over there. Most of you who listen don't subscribe, like, or rate this show. If you're one of those people who do, then huge thank you. But here's why it's important to subscribe, like, and or rate this show. If you do that, that means we get more eyeballs, we get higher rankings, and the bigger the Ben Greenfield Life show gets, the bigger and better the guests get, and the better the content I'm able to deliver to you. So hit subscribe, leave a ranking, leave a review if you got a little extra time. It means way more than you might think. Thank you so much.